We are now ready. I will introduce you to Alžbeta. Alžbeta Brozmanová Gregorová is an associate professor at the Social Work Department of the Faculty of Education at Matej Bell University in Banská Bystrica, Slovakia. Since 2017, she has been a Vice Dean for International Cooperation and Public Relations. She focuses primarily on volunteering, service learning, NGO sector in Slovak conditions, project management, youth, and social work. She's the author, as I mentioned before, of several publications, research studies, and articles in this area. And in her research and publication activity, she interconnects knowledge and skills gained through theoretical study, empirical research, and actual understanding of the practice. She acted as a coordinator and the person responsible for implementing several national and international research and educational projects and the service learning coordinator at Matej Bell University. She has been actively working in advocacy and development of volunteering for a long time. So now I will stop sharing my, let me see, there we go. Let me see, I'm trying to. You can still, okay, there we go, but for some reason. So let's listen to Alžbeta now, please go.
Okay, thank you really much, Luz, for this really nice introduction to our international seminar. I want to welcome here especially the partners of this nice project about the service learning in social work education that, as Luz said, we are implementing together with the universities in other countries, not only in Slovakia, but also in the Ukraine, in Georgia, in Serbia. So really welcome. I will share in my presentation our experiences with the service learning in social work education. And I will try to also share some videos of the projects that we have been implementing and share with you our experiences. I will just check if you can see it. Okay. And maybe one more time. Okay, so let me share with you like just part of our story of service learning at Matej Bell University, which is really closely connected with the Matej Bell University mission, which is currently to create and disseminate the knowledge that protects, strengthens, and develops the democratic and humanistic values and contributes to addressing the social challenges and in 21st century. I think like this mission is like really actual also in the current situation and in current crisis, and our story of service learning in social work education is really closely connected not only with the social work topics but also with the overall mission of the university. When we started to develop the service learning at Matej Bell University and in social work education, we had several questions that were arising because the service learning was a quite new strategy for us in a few years ago, and we tried to connect this strategy with some answers and with on these questions, and we asked. How, for example, how do we contribute to the development of the moral, authentic, and socially responsible personalities, which we think should be our graduates of the university? But also, for example, how do we prepare our students for the life in the 21st century? How do we develop the transversal competencies? And how do we lead students to the active citizenship and engagement? Also, we were asked by the other people, by the professionals, by our future employers, how do we connect the school with the real life practice and the community, and how what is the social significance of Mathieu Bell University, or what is the mission of the university in today's society. And when we were reflecting about the service learning, we came up with the ideas that the service learning, it is not the answer to all of these questions that we have, or that people asked us as teachers at the universities. And it is also not possible to implement the service learning in every subject or every course at the university. We also think that the service learning does not mean teaching others. It does not question the education implemented so far. But for us, the service learning is the opportunity to teach and learn differently. We are following up the Latin America model that already Luz explained us a little bit, that it's more connected with this aspect of the solidarity learning. We were also inspired by the American model, which connects the service learning more with the community engagement. But also we were looking on the European models that we can say it's maybe somehow more complicated with all of these different historical connections and historical aspects of development of engagement in the Europe. But we think that this European model is specific, that is paying attention on really strong connection of the learning and civic engagement part. We also are aware that looking on these models is always important to respect different historical, social, cultural, and institutional backgrounds that really influence the service learning implementation a lot. The context of service learning development at our university are connected with three main areas. I will not explain all of them, but as you can see, they are connected with the university third mission that we also see, as Luz mentioned, as a not separate mission, but closely connected to the education and research at the universities. We connect the service learning with the education for 21st century and also with the community engaged scholarship. The service learning in social work education, I think that it's the specific, what we can see is the focus on social justice, which is really important in service learning, as well as social work as a profession and social work as an education. In our activities and in our project, we include the whole spectrum of the activities that we can recognize in the service learning projects. So I mean that we include here the direct service, the capacity building activities, advocacy activities, but also research. And I will give you some of the examples from some of these type of the activities. The models that we are developing in service learning in social work education at Mathieu Bell universities, I try to explain in 4 models. The first model will be the service learning as a separate course. Then the service learning as a part of the course, service learning as an alternative form of field practice or internship, and the service learning as a participative action research or community-based research. Okay. Sorry. At our university, we started with the service learning, not in social work education, but we started with the service learning in cooperation with the teachers from other departments and other faculties at our universities. And in 2013, we established the separate subject or separate course called service learning, which was implemented in 2 semesters and which was connected or which was offered for all students at Mathieu Bell University. I need to say that we stopped this course after 4 years, but the experiences that the students had from this course and the teachers had from this course were really like great. You can see here like a little bit older pictures, but what was really excellent on these experiences was the interdisciplinary connections. That the students from different departments were able to implement the service learning projects together. They were able to learn together and develop the specific competencies connected with the service learning implementation and many of the competencies that we can call key or transversal competencies. I can mention one of the projects that were engaging the student, that was engaging the students of social work together with the students of Slovak language and literature. And this group of the students, they implemented project in the hospitals, and they were like starting to read the patients in the hospitals who were in the coma, and they organized these readings every week. And they also helped the organization to create the volunteer program that the organization was able to run in the future. Then we have this example of the service learning as a part of the subject. In this case, we are developing the service learning as an option that the students can choose when they are working in some course or in some subjects in the school. Mostly what we find out that the best practice is to organize the service learning projects in 2 semesters. When in 1 semester, the students are able to connect with the community partner, they are able to plan the projects together, and in the 2nd semester, they are able to implement the projects. So I will try to share with you the videos that they are speaking better about the experiences that the students have there, and how they evaluate this experience. The first video is from the service learning project implemented in the psychology. So I will try to skip it, and you will see the projects that were implemented in the social work education.
Vyrobiť krok k tomu, aby znížili okrem mladých študentov mali možnosť aj do úrovne.
Mi priniesol veľa nových
Projekt Biozáhradka sme začali realizovať vďaka predmetu Hra o planétu. V rámci teoretickej prípravy nás zaujala téma udržateľnosť a rozvoj a environmentálna téma. Dlho sme rozmýšľali, ako túto tému prepojíme so sociálnou prácou, ktorú študujeme. Odpoveď na otázku sme našli po diskusiách so zamestnankyňami zariadenia. Pre klientov zariadenia hľadali vhodnú formu trávenia voľného času, zároveň aktivizácie, zmysluplných aktivít, ktoré by im pomohli v rozvoji zručností a schopností, a zároveň v priestoroch areálu bola nevyužitá záhradka. A tak bol náš projekt na svete. Do plánovania a starostlivosti o záhradku sme sa nezapojili len my študentky, ale aj zamestnanci zariadenia a jej klienti. Mali sme tak možnosť hovoriť o rôznych ekologickejších možnostiach, využiteľných záhradkách. Aktuálne okrem práce na záhradke spolupracujeme aj na tvorbe webovej stránky zariadenia. Okrem rozvoja našich záhradníckych zručností máme možnosť nielen vidieť, ale priamo sa podieľať na aktivizačných činnostiach pre klientov spolu so sociálnymi pracovníčkami. Máme tiež možnosť spolu s klientmi tešiť sa z prvých záhradníckych úspechov.
Tento projekt mi priniesol mnoho nových skúseností a taktiež veľa úsmevných zážitkov. A dovolil mi, aby som si rozvinula svoje organizačné zručnosti a určite prácu s touto cieľovou skupinou, ktorá nie je vždy jednoduchá.
Účasťou na tomto projekte som určite získala mnoho nových zručností a schopností, ktoré ma naučili rozvíjať prácu v tíme aj s touto cieľovou skupinou.
Okay. So let me continue in the presentation. The third model that we are implementing as a part of the service learning strategy in social work education at our university is the service learning as a form of the field practice. In this case, we offer the students the possibility to have the field practice in social work education in the classical way, or also the students can implement the service learning project. In this video, I will share with you the project the students were able to implement during the COVID situation, and they were able to create together with the community partner nice space and also implement some of the activities with the beneficiaries.
Sme študenti 3. ročníka katedry sociálnej práce Univerzity Mateja Bela v Banskej Bystrici a v rámci predmetu sociálna prevencia sme pripravili preventívny projekt s názvom Oáza pokoja.
Študentom Pedagogickej fakulty Univerzity Mateja Bela v Banskej Bystrici sa podaril vybudovať krásny, nový, multifunkčný priestor pre rodiny, pre deti, pre všetkých, ktorí vlastne potrebujú pokoj.
Hlavným cieľom projektu bola prevencia a eliminácia agresívneho stereotypného správania s klientom s poruchami autistického spektra.
Autizmus je pervazívna vývinová porucha. U detí sa prejaví už v prenatálnom vývoji a do 3 rokov života dieťaťa sú už výrazné vlastne poruchy správania v sociálnej oblasti, v komunikácii. Takéto deti majú obrovský problém zaradiť sa do života a s týmito deťmi nemá problém zaradiť sa do života aj celá rodina. A preto naša spoločnosť na pomoc osobám s autizmom v Banskej Bystrici už dlhoročne pripravuje podmienky na pomoc takýmto rodinám.
Cieľom našej praxe bola stimulácia všetkých zmyslov podľa možností a schopností klienta. Získal som rôzne kompetencie do pracovného procesu. Táto prax mi dala či už len flexibilnú prácu, ale aj možnosti riešiť ťažké situácie.
Tento projekt mi dal veľa takých poznatkov a informácií o klientoch, ktorí majú autizmus, ako prežívajú ten svoj deň, ako vlastne žijú tie svoje životy a najviac mi to priblížilo VR, ktoré na 3 minúty si človek mohol vyskúšať, ako vníma okolie autista. A bolo to také dosť šokujúce, aj také poučné, pretože človek by si to nevedel ani predstaviť, že ako oni vnímajú okolie.
Každý v oáze pokoja zanechal svoju stopu. Svojou šikovnosťou, svojim nadaním, svojim prístupom k deťom. Niektorí si vyskúšali aj prácu s deťmi a je vidieť, že majú k tomu, čo študujú, aj vzťah. A práve z toho vzťahu sa môže do budúcnosti nájsť cesta k získaniu nových talentov na prácu pre osoby s autizmom v Banskej Bystrici.
Pomáhame iným, pomáhame nielen sebe.
Okay, the fourth example that I want to share with you is also that service learning as an alternative form of the field practice that we were able to implement thanks to the experiences with the service learning also during the COVID-19. At our faculty, we established the program, I would translate it like ears to the soul, in which our students were in telephonical contact with the lonely beneficiaries that were living in their houses, so not all in some social facilities, and they were contacting with them together regularly, like each week for at least 1 hour of the calls. We also continue with this program now in this situation that we also engaging students in this program, and it's like our long-term activity that we want to contribute to overcome the loneliness of the people who are living alone in their houses. As you can see, during the 1 semester, students were able to conduct more than 400 calls for 20 lonely people. They really called like many thousands of the minutes, and we engaged 19 students of social work education. We implement this program together with the Volunteer Center, which is our partner in many projects in this area. And the last example will be the example how we can also learn and teach our students of social work to conduct the research, not only theoretical way, but how they can be also engaged in really doing the participative community-based research. Together with the Community Healthy Foundation, we implemented a project in which our students were engaging with the women in Banská Bystrica, and they were collecting the data about the needs and challenges of the women in the city. And based on these activities, they also created together with the women the solutions that they should help the women to overcome these challenges and to better advocate for their needs in the city. They were implemented 7 focus groups together with these women, and they also were able to continue the cooperation with the Community Foundation next years, and they were part of the many projects and activities that students together with the Women and Community Foundation implemented. Why we are doing it? We think that the service learning is answer on many issues, as I mentioned at the beginning of my presentation. But for us, what is the most important is the reciprocity that many times is missing in social work education, and especially in the field practice. We're trying to build the partnerships with the community partners, which are mutually beneficial and which responds to the needs of the community. We also develop the service learning because we see that we can develop the professional but also key competencies of the students that they will need also in the future, and maybe they will decide that they don't want to work as a social workers, but they will do some other activities and professions in the future. And we are doing the service learning because we think that we should also focus not only on this professional and key competencies, but also in the social work is important to build the personal and social responsibility and civic engagement. We are also documenting the benefits of service learning for the students and for the community partners. And I just made some small summary from the research, quantitative and qualitative, that I think is also important to share with you today. That what we see is that the service learning in social work education provides the space for the application of the theoretical knowledge, which is reflected by the students, but also by the community partners, that they really appreciate that the students are coming with the knowledge that they can implement in the service learning projects. They also reflect that the service learning is giving both sides the opportunity to establish the relationships in the community, which are really close, and the students have the possibility to working really closely with the beneficiaries and with the community partners. Service learning is giving also space to students to develop the new knowledge, skills, and competencies, not only give the application of the theoretical knowledge that already have, but during the service learning implementation, they really have the space to develop something new that we are not able to develop in the classes. And especially for social work education, what we see that the service learning helps to shape the identity of the social worker, that the students are able to really understand in the practice what is the participatory approach to the social work clients, beneficiaries, and to dealing with the problems, and that we are able to really shape the self-concept of the students as the agents of the social change. Okay. At the end, sure, service learning has many benefits, but it has also many challenges. And I try to also summarize these challenges and maybe to name them as a recommendations for service learning development. As we see from our practice that to develop the service learning, in higher education, it needs to have also support from the management of the university and to create the conditions that you will be able to implement the service learning projects that are beneficial for all parts involved or all stakeholders who are involved in the process. I think that it's important also to build the long-term partnerships with the community partners that are enabling them to build the service learning projects that are meaningful for all partners involved. And I really appreciate, as Luz mentioned, that there are also many of the international networks that you can not only share the experiences, but also gain many resources from these international contacts. And you really don't need to start from the beginning because we have many sources that you can be able to use. So I would recommend also these sources and to look also on the website of the European Observatory on Service Learning in Higher Education. And there are many, many initiatives that we can also share on our website for this project, and you can find more information. So thank you really much for your attention, and I hope we will have also space a little bit for reflection and for the discussion.